Yo, what's happening, everybody? Today, we are going to dive a little deeper into last week's episode about the importance of engaging in the creative act every day. And I'm going to teach you how to have an infinite source of ideas. Maybe you're a student, an entrepreneur, a literary writer, or a musician, and you've tried to sit at the blank page and work on your ideas. However, nothing seems to be coming through or landing right. You might feel like you have writer's block or brain fog, maybe. And you might be starting to feel like there's something wrong with you. But that's not true, guys. It simply just means you need to be utilizing more of the tools you have around you and block out the unnecessary distractions. Because all of us in life, we need a bigger purpose and goal in life to aim for. Instead of just living moment to moment and seeking out instant gratification. Whether that's through social media, junk food, alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, whatever it is that you find yourself engaging in maybe unhealthy interactions with. And part of that is having exciting, interesting ideas in your head to work on. Because when you have exciting projects or ideas to work on, you are far less likely to reach for that electronic device currently in your pocket and to engage in perfunctory, meaningless distractions. At the end of the day, guys, look at it this way. You are a vessel for ideas to pass through you. So, a very simple and effective way to start doing that is by playing a fun little wordplay game I like to use in my creative process sometimes, which is you take a phrase or a word, it could be anything, just a phrase or word that comes into your head. It doesn't even have to make sense. And you grab a pen and a piece of paper or a notepad like mine, and you can see here that here I just have pages of ideas. And this is something I do every day. And I will just grab a pen and paper every day and I'll just start writing down ideas. And in this book, there's anything from feelings that I've expressed, to thoughts that I've had, to music ideas, to book ideas, or I've written about a memory or an experience that I've had in my life. I've just poured it all on to the blank page here. And there's just pages full of it. But what you do is, once you have a title for this task, as I said, it doesn't have to make sense. For example, I did this task this morning, and the title I had for it was the word systemic, which is more of a phrase than it is a word. It doesn't even make sense. But what you do is you set yourself 2 minutes or even 5 minutes if you want. And you start writing down every single word you can think of in that 2 to 5 minutes that correlates and relates to the letters that make up your chosen word. So you start writing down as many words as you can think of. And this morning, you can see here, this was my list of words. I wrote down skyfall, yellow, mimic, tailspin, sound, calypso, cerebral, memories, introspective, inwards, hills, moods, chills, cherry. And then what you do is you take those words after the 2 to 4 minutes that you've set yourself to do the task, and you try and put together a poem or a short story or maybe a line that makes up a lyric in a song idea. And what I ended up coming up with was the line, introspective moods stifle your every move. Cerebral chills transcend through these silent hills. And from that, you try and turn it into something. And it's just a good way, I find, if you're feeling uninspired or you're not sure what to write about, I find that just committing to that small, fun exercise, it just opens up a portal in your mind to another dimension or somewhere else. You know, it just gets you inspired and it helps you unlock the door. So let's say, as a simple task for me, we've got that there now. That's what I did. The title was Systemic, and then I went through the list of words that I could think of, and then I came out with that line. So let's say now, if I was to take that a step further, I grab a guitar. So I grab my guitar. And we just start trying to spill out ideas, things that could lead to maybe a song idea. So okay, so what was the line? Introspective moods stifle your every move. Cerebral chills transcend through these silent hills. Okay, so we have the chords here. If we just do some basic chords, again, guys, it's not about it being the best thing you've ever done. It's just to get you moving on something. So you have some basic chords there, and to push a melody, 1, 2, 3, 4. Introspective moods stifle your every move. Cerebral chills transcend through these silent hills. Do you see what I mean? So you're just kind of Ouija boarding. You're just trying to think of anything to get something moving. And that is not really very good. But it's not about that. It's just having a little seed of an idea so that you can try and grow something and expand it from there. So you have that, the chords. Introspective moods stifle your every move. Cerebral chills transcend through these silent hills. And then you could also then take it a step further. If you're a songwriter or a musician, you could think, okay, well, I have the basic chords and the melody. How can we now start thinking about the song idea at a vertical trajectory and at a depth level instead of a surface core idea level? And what I mean by that is maybe instead of just strumming the chords, you could think, okay, maybe it will sound better and it will be slightly more interesting if I pick the chords. So you go. And And if you have like the vocal melody, what you could do is, okay, maybe I could add an octave higher harmony over the top of the main melody. Maybe if you layer it up like that, it will make the melody stronger, and it might make it more catchier or more interesting to listen to. And it's about just finding those small little details, guys. You know, we talked before about reducing the frame and about paying close attention to the smaller details. When you have those little details like that, you start to expand, and then you start to develop ideas from there. And then things really do start to snowball. And you will find just by doing that as a daily practice that the good ideas will effortlessly flow through you. They'll come through you. Almost like you hear artists and creative people say this all the time. Sometimes the best ideas, they just land. And it's almost like you didn't even write them. You didn't even make the idea or come up with it. It was sent to you from the universe, or a download from the gods, right? And those ideas only come the more that you turn up at the blank page and you start doing little exercises like this. So hopefully that makes some sense, guys. Please leave your comments if you have your own exercises as well, because I'm always looking for new ways to access creativity. So once you have done the task, like I did here for 2 minutes, you try and turn it into something. It could be a poem, it could be a short story. You could use it as a way to storyboard ideas for a new business. It really could be anything. Or it could be just a fun task that you conduct and you explore just to journal every day. The whole objective of this exercise is just to get ideas flowing and to get yourself inspired on those days that you don't feel very inspired, you know, because you have a mountain of ideas swirling around inside your head all the time. However, it can be very hard to delineate between noise and signal. You have noise, which is unwanted thoughts, negative chatter, brain rot, and, you know, things we tell ourselves like, oh, what if people don't like you? Or what if people don't like what you're doing? That's all noise. And then you have signal, which is positive thoughts, exciting ideas, stuff that makes you think about cool shit. You know? Stuff that really lights you up. So this fun little wordplay task helps turn off the unwanted noise in your head and focus instead on signal. And this task can be useful not just in music, but all the things I just mentioned. You know, even if you're an entrepreneur. So once you have completed the task, reflect back on what you have written and study it. You will be surprised, guys, at what you might find. So start with that, and please let me know how you get on. This is why, as well, it's worth just laying out. This is why your environment and where you source your inspiration from is so important, guys. It's radically important to your creativity. whether it's a podcast or it's TV shows or films or music or books or walking or social time or exercise or nutrition, because these are the things going in, your information, your input, your influences, your open signal. You pay attention to these things, you take them and you channel them into your creative ideas. They then get filtered down. So it's creating this infinite source of ideas to pull from all the time. I'm somebody, I'll be really transparent and I'll be very open with you guys now. I'm somebody that suffers from depression from time to time. So let's say there's a problem in my life. Even when I solve it, my brain will instantly look for something else to replace it with. Another problem to spin my wheels on. You know? Another problem to spin my wheels on. The glass is not half full for people like me. It's very much half empty a lot of times. Which is why making new things and engaging in the creative act regularly is radically important, guys, to your creative process and your journey. Because what you're actually doing then is you're turning something that's negative in your life and you're turning it into something positive. Creating a positive feedback loop. Because even if you're expressing something sad or negative in your life into your creativity, well then, whether you realize it or not, that act alone has now turned into a positive experience because you have channeled it into something productive, which has turned into a new business idea or a piece of art or a song. So I can't express enough, guys, engaging in these little creative tasks like wordplay or journaling, and also taking in different forms of art is the best way to yield your best work. You know, make more art and take in as much art from other things as you can. This could mean going to an art gallery and you find yourself marveling at a really cool piece of art in front of you. And it makes you think about cool shit. The last thing I want to leave you with on this, guys, is a huge part of all of these creative ideas landing is simply by allowing yourself to be bored, doing nothing. Because unfortunately, we are in a time in our lives where we have 1,001 distractions all the time. Instant gratification is available at the end of our fingertips 24 hours a day. So we don't recognize boredom as a natural state of being. If anything, we see it as something that's negative, when in actual fact, it's really useful and productive, and it's creative from time to time. Like, a lot of my best creative ideas have come from simply doing nothing, or embarking on a long hike without my phone. So I'll say this: boredom equals creativity. But remember, the point of this task isn't to create some incredible novel or the next best song that blows up streaming platforms around the world, or the next biggest global tech company. It's just about having fun and allowing creative ideas to flow freely. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Like and subscribe. Peace.